it is time for my favorite segment of the show. Welcome back to Fun with Fountain Pens.
Here's a house. Here's a door. Windows 1, 2, 3, 4. Ready to knock? Turn the lock.
10 school. Okay, guys, I have a great pen for you today. I hope you'll enjoy this. This is a copy of a Montblanc. It is an absolute fake. Now, Montblanc, their Meisterstück range of pens come in a variety of different sizes. Their flagship is the 149. It's the big cigar-shaped pen. Another common size is the 144. It is smaller. Some men use it, notably Chris Penk, the politician here in New Zealand, uses a Montblanc 144. It is quite common, but it is quite a small pen. It's more sort of a lady size. The one that people like because it's not too massive and ostentatious, and both men and women can use, is the one in between. It's the model 146. This is often called the LeGrand. It's about the same length as the 149, but it's just not as fat. So it fits into your grip a lot better. Now, this is a copy of it. I am astonished at how good this Chinese fake Montblanc 146 actually is. For most people, you would actually not be able to determine that this is a fake. It is absolutely, in almost every way, identical. I'm using a new camera tonight, a different phone, so I'm not sure how clear it is, but you may be able to, I'll bring up the nib so you can have a look at that. See the engraving on this nib? It is absolutely identical to what you would get on a real Montblanc 149. The other thing is, you can see here that it has an ink window. You can see the emptiness of the ink, and I can move it so that it's sort of sloshing around inside there. It is absolutely identical. It has the same filling mechanism. It has the same weight. It is absolutely like a Montblanc 146 LeGrand. It even has a very smooth, glassy Montblanc type feel to the nib. It is very, very smooth and very, very nice to write with. Although I have to say, probably because of my angle here, I'm having a little bit of an issue with ink flow. Also, earlier tonight, I accidentally dropped a bottle of ink off a shelf. It fell from about 60 centimeters up and landed straight on top of this pen. It survived, but it was a close one thing. All right, now one of these pens, a real one, will run you about $1,400. They are an expensive pen. This absolutely perfect copy, in my opinion, will cost you about $30 from China. But you do need to be careful because they do come, there are good ones and there are bad ones. This is one, for example, which is nowhere near as good. This is another $30 copy of that same pen. It is absolutely identical, except note that this one doesn't have an ink window. Having an ink window is really important on a fountain pen because, well, it's preferable on a fountain pen because it shows you how much ink is left, so you know that you need to fill it up again. This one, for some reason, is a good pen, but it doesn't have an ink window. All right. The filling mechanism I've got to show you as well is also the same deal. It has the piston filling mechanism. Oh, whoopsie, I've just spilled a whole bunch of ink there. A piston filling mechanism just like you would get on a real Montblanc. Okay, and I am going to remove that piece of paper so that I don't stain the pages underneath it. One moment, you guys. Okay, it's quite good because with that ink spot, you can see the ink that I want to show you. But before I get into that, make sure I've got the right pen. Oh no, that's the fake. Now, I've shown you this pen before. This is a pen which is more of an homage than a counterfeit. I showed you this. This is a Marjon. It's about twice as expensive. I think these are about $70, but it is obviously inspired by the Montblanc, but it is not an absolute outright copy. For example, it has its own engraving on the nib. It is otherwise absolutely identical, but it is not supposed to be a fake. If I was going to buy one of these pens, I would certainly buy this one. Now, on determining that it is a fake, most people would not be able to tell that this pen is fake, because it used to be the case that with the counterfeits, you could spot them. That was fairly obvious that a counterfeit was a counterfeit. This one is really, really difficult because it is absolutely, in almost every regard, identical. How I spotted that it was a fake is that Montblanc pens, they look like they're black, but they are, in point of fact, the resin is in fact deep red. This is not a fact that Montblanc advertises to people, but it is true. Now, you see there in the ink window how it is transparent and white. What you can do is you can hold up a bright light, all right, a bright light around the ink window or on the edges of the cap, somewhere thin on the material. If you shine a bright light through it, you can see that the material glows a deep, rich, sort of burgundy red. It looks like it's black in natural light, but in point of fact, Montblanc pens are red. That is how I determined it. Okay, so long story short, this is a fantastic pen. Don't buy it because it's a counterfeit. Rather buy the Marjon. I believe it's a P160, which is absolutely identical, but it is more of an homage than a fake. Now, onto the ink. This was a gift from a viewer of Simon TV. I went into Montblanc and this ink was waiting for me. It is very kind, guys, that you buy me pen supplies. People, call up Montblanc and say, hey, the next time Simon Anderson comes in, make sure there's a bottle of ink there for him, and they pay for it. That is really kind, but please stop doing that. Okay, it's very, very kind, but instead of doing things like buying me ink, if you want to support the channel, do things like subscribe to my Substack, all right? It is very kind, but I don't want people spending lots of money on buying me stuff, as much as I do appreciate it, and I really, really do. It's such a wonderful surprise. I go into the Montblanc boutique, and what do you know? There's something cool waiting for me, including this bottle of Montblanc Grey. Now, the Montblanc inks come in this sort of standard shape, right? Now, a standard Montblanc ink is like this, and they're really cool. They've got this kind of like pistol grip on them. So when you're filling them, you can hold them like this and sort of tuck your finger underneath it and hold it like you're holding a revolver. It's a nice way to fill an ink bottle, as opposed to their standard edition, or rather their limited edition inks, which come out in much squarer bottles like this one. Now, this is the special. This bottle here is a limited edition Montblanc Spider Grey. Montblanc Spider Grey. This came out a few years ago. I bought a bottle. It was fantastic to have a very grey ink. But since then, I think because it proved so popular, Montblanc actually started doing a standard line grey ink, which is this one. And it is very, very cool. Now, you'll know, like viewers of the show will know, that I talk often about the inks that you should use in a business context as opposed to what you should use for your personal correspondence. With your personal correspondence, you can use any color you like. You can use, inks that have got glitter in them, all sorts of different stuff, whatever suits your fancy. But for a business context, it pays to be conservative. And I always say blue, black, maybe green. I'm going to change that because I do think that you can get away in a business context with grey inks. Grey inks are conservative enough, but still they're subtle because it's a subtle color. I think you can use them and get away with them in a business context, but I'm not sure about this one. Like, what's quite cool about it is you can see on the page, it is a grey, but it is actually a very, very dark grey. Like this blotch here, which hasn't yet, I've got to move that so that you can see that on portrait. Whoops. It looks extremely black, right? But it does dry very, very grey. However, with this particular one, I did splotch it earlier, and it is actually a double a double shading ink. So if you look at it on the page, you might be able to see that this is called double shading, where it's actually comprises two colors. Can you see how it's almost purple around the edges of the gray slots? Grey splotches. This is what's called a double shading ink, and you get this in fountain pens where it is actually two colors, and it's very subtle in lines. It ends up being sort of like an outline on your text, rather on your characters, which is very, very subtle. But when you blotch it like that, it is very, very apparent. So I'm not sure that this particular grey is one that I would use in a business context for business correspondence, but I certainly would for personal correspondence. That said, there are other greys. Montblanc special edition greys like this one, the Spider Grey, is one that is just a straight grey and that you could get away with in the workplace. All right, guys, so that's the pen for today. It is a counterfeit Montblanc Meisterstück 146 from China, rather than $1,400 or something, whatever Montblanc sells them for. It retails for about $30 or $40 out of China. It is a fantastic pen, but I can't in good conscience recommend that you buy it. And the Montblanc Cool Grey ink. All right. I hope you enjoyed that. I've got a few comments to catch up on the chat. I see it's been going crazy. And I've got 20 minutes left to go in the episode. Guys, believe it or not, you are watching Simon TV.